And woo, hello everyone, welcome to WWE Hell in a Cell review. Uh, I'm Chriz, aka the Mole, joining me is James Phoenix.
Hello.
Normally we discuss the pre-show stuff, but I don't think either of us saw it this time, so
Nope.
instead we could just read you the results, but that'd be boring. So let's just move off straight onto the pay-per-view. Roman Reigns versus Rusev kicked it off.
Yes.
Or more importantly, Lana kicked it off on top of the stage, looking really hot.
Yes.
And then we had Rusev versus Roman Reigns. Not a terrible match.
No, they put on a good Hell in a Cell match. They went back and forth, did a lot of good spots to each other.
Yep.
It's kind of feud that works very well in this kind of a matchup.
We knew who'd win.
Yeah.
We knew Reigns would win, which is fine. Also, Rusev really looks weird with his mutton chops.
Yeah, without his mustache. Thank you. It's not just me.
Without that bit missing there, he looks like...
Yeah.
I don't know what you'd call it, but he looks like Wolverine meets Umaga.
Kind of, yeah.
And I'm like, it just doesn't look like with the big fucking mutton chops hanging all the way down to
No,
there.
it doesn't.
I'm like, no. But yeah, you had some good moments in the match. And like I said, it was pretty back and forth to a certain point.
Yep.
But it was, and obviously Reigns picked up the victory.
Yep. I really like that spot where Rusev put him in the accolade with the chain. That looked like it hurt.
Yep. And it looked a lot better when we did it to Cena backstage with a wire, and you're like, it's not even on his neck, it's there. And he's like, ah. Actually, that was the other way around. Cena did it to him in the STF with the chain.
Yeah.
Which, fun fact, did you watch Talking Smack this week?
I did not.
Daniel Bryan takes the piss.
Okay.
And even though he shouldn't, he literally points out why Nikki Bella has improved upon her boyfriend's move.
Okay.
She does the STF.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was Renee who says to him, yeah, but she's clearly learned that from her husband. She's borrowing his moves. And Daniel Bryan's like, no, look at how she did the moves. Look, show up a picture. Notice how she clasps the hands. She's therefore giving him more support and locking it in. Clearly, she's improved upon this move. And I'm like, oh my God, no, just because she did it correctly. And I'm like, that's kind of funny.
That is funny.
But after the Reigns Rusev match, which match did we go to next?
We went to Bayley versus Dana Brooke.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody cared.
Yep, that happened.
Yep.
But it wasn't terrible.
No, I mean, they're both talented women.
And I did like this bit in the corner where Dana did the little cartwheel thing back to her feet. Although she did it a little sloppy because compared to normal, like as she was getting back up, it looked awkward a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I still liked her.
It worked.
And their feud's been on Raw.
Yeah, for the most part.
That's
good. And at least, they called Bayley up, but it's given the women something to do consistently, and that's a good thing. They're getting TV time.
Getting bad TV time is not as good as if they'd had good TV time.
No, but
this feud's consisted of Bayley lost a match, so Dana Brooke's taking her out with her massive arms and that boring arm wrestling match on Raw.
Yeah, I'm glad I missed that.
I'm sorry, years ago I found it boring as hell when Triple H and Scott Steiner had an arm wrestling match.
Oh God, I remember that.
I still find it boring when Bayley and Dana Brooke have an arm wrestling match.
You remember either the week before or the week after when they had a weightlifting contest?
See, I didn't mind for weightlifting and like when they were doing like the press ups, and I was like, okay, so now it's just gonna be a feat of strength each week, fair enough. But arm wrestling in WWE, no. I prefer arm sports entertainment.
Fair enough.
That's not a thing. Arm sports entertainment is not a thing. But no, so we had that match, which was okay.
Yep.
Then was it the cruiserweight? No.
No, then we had a tag team match that didn't matter.
Oh, was that the LOL New Day wins?
No, the other one. That was we're trying to make the club look like they're actually, good, even though
Oh,
they've lost every match they've been in the last 6 months.
yeah. With Enzo and Big Cass.
Yep.
It wasn't. I remember that match now. It wasn't terrible. It was probably the best tag match.
Yeah, they put on a good match. I mean, they're always impressive when they get in the ring. It's just a matter of they can't win a tag title match, and that kind of doesn't lend itself to your credibility.
Yeah. Because WWE decided to hurt the club to make New Day have a record.
Yep.
So does anyone really give a shit about who's the longest reigning champion? Or do people just care about who's the champion right now?
I don't know. Somebody cared because they were considering, they already broke the record for Raw title holders, and then the fans bitched, oh no, they're not they didn't break the World Tag Run record yet. They didn't break the record that Demolition has.
I would point out that's not people caring, that's people nitpicking because WWE was shoving it down our throats that they were champions, so people would probably look up and go, no, you're wrong, stop forcing this fake record.
Ah.
No one was like, yeah, make them the longest reigning tag champions of all time. Woo!
Mm.
But we had that.
Yep.
After that was that the next Hell in a Cell?
Yes, it was.
I thought that was I liked that one.
It was good.
Seth versus Jericho with guest star Kevin Owens. No, I'm kidding.
Pretty much.
Seth, no, it wasn't pretty much. Kevin Owens did a hell of a lot more. Jericho just did a little bit of interference near the end. But that was a good match. Like the powerbomb through the table was fucking awesome.
That was good. They're 2 tables.
Yep, and it was like boom in the corner. I like that.
Yeah.
And he fire extinguished the ref, and Jericho gets in the match was pretty clever.
Yes.
I was expecting Triple H at that moment. Well, we're literally having a feud between Triple H and Seth Rollins, where all that's happening is Seth Rollins is making slightly snarky comments at his wife. That's not a good feud. We need Triple H on TV to have a feud with Triple H.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least do social media battles like The Rock Cena, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, something.
It can't just be, oh, well, your wife was slightly dodgy. Your wife made a decision I was waving my arms telling her to do, that then cost me the match. That's kind of shit. But I liked this match. It had some good moments, and I thought both of them were really good in this match.
Oh, they were definitely. I like the when Rollins did the frog splash and he turned in midair. That was cool.
I will say my favorite move this match was after the match, but it still counts. It was Jericho's code breaker.
That was good.
Only because at first I thought it looked a little sloppy as he did it, until Seth just lay there and like, that just looks more vicious, and I don't know why. He just looked dead for a couple of minutes, and I'm like, that just looked more vicious.
Yep.
And again, Kevin Owens leaves Jericho to get pedigreed. In the match. Again, Jericho eats a pedigree.
Yep.
I'm beginning to think his best friend may not be his best friend.
I know.
I think he's using him.
I think so.
Well, before this, we did get the cool bit backstage with Stephanie, Mick, and Jericho.
Yes.
Now, Mick and Stephanie don't need to be on TV as much as they are. I'm just going to say that. They're on TV more than like the SmackDown GMs.
Mm-hmm.
To the point that when Daniel Bryan or Shane show up on SmackDown, it's important.
Yep.
When Stephanie and Mick show up, it's like, oh, you're going to try and put yourself in this storyline now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But I liked it when he's like, and you see the crowd going, it's before Jericho did.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's doing his bit with him, oh, do you want to be on the list 3 times? Thrice? And just starts little
Trace, trio, trois.
Yeah, exactly. Just go through various versions of the word 3. And I'm like, that's fun.
That was good.
It was a funny little segment.
It was entertaining.
But I think this match wasn't bad. I really did like this one. I think this should have been the main event.
It would have been good. Yeah, I did like the part where I don't know what they call that move, but that package power bomb move where he locks the arms and then he picks you up and like drops you on the back of your head. That's a cool move.
Yep. And like I said, personally, I would have put this at the main event because this was definitely the match of the night.
Yeah, if you want an example, let's go ahead and take the out of the ring through table spot from this match and compare it to the out of the ring through a table spot from the final match of the night.
We'll be getting to that one later. But I believe this is my note.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
After the Universal title match, we saw Booker T tell us, "I can't get over how lifelike these figures are." Cue the camera zooming in, and they all looked shit. And most of the people in the package are dead, so no sense of the word lifelike. Does that matter? I've looked up both definitions, and neither matter for that pack.
Nope.
Thank you. That was my only note. That was my only note I took for this one, just so I knew where to put it, because that was fucking terrible. Yeah, do you want to see these new action figures? I can't believe how lifelike they are. And I'm like, oh, I remember back in the day when I used to have them, and they used to use that real scan technology and scan their faces, and some figures look really fucking photorealistic. Like, oh my god, it's so beautiful. And I've seen realistic ones in the shop, and then you cut to these, and I don't know how to describe it. It looked like Andre the Giant, Mr. Perfect, and stuff. It all had some sort of, I don't know, stroke, or someone's just dug them up and been to a taxidermist. Because I'm like, terrible figures.
They all have JR disease.
They do. They all only show up to sell shitty barbecue sauce.
Yep.
But I'll let you take the next match.
Okay. Now I'm sick. You're talking about old figures, and for some reason now all I can remember is those old figures you used to squeeze and they would sweat. That was so weird.
I remember them. Did you remember the ones? Do you remember the series of them when they were ultra fucking muscular too?
Yeah.
And you'd fill them with a tiny little water bottles.
I vaguely remember that, yes.
I have some of them. I have like a rock one somewhere, and I think I
Nice.
have Undertaker and stuff where like. There's no way those figures are passing the wellness policy.
No. No. Not when their hands and feet are larger than their heads.
They look like Ryback on steroids, which is bad because Ryback already looks like he's on steroids.
Yeah. Okay, so here he's now fighting them on the trademark for Feed Me More. But he got shut down.
It's fine. Apparently he's got a dealership with Subway, so his new catchphrase will be "Eat fresh." That won't be a thing. That means nothing.
Be better than the last spokesman.
I like Jared. And his AIDS.
What's that?
I like Jared and his AIDS.
Ah. Anyway, next up was the Cruiserweight Championship match between TJ Perkins and the Brian Kendrick.
Yep.
And it happened.
Brian Kendrick has a championship.
He does.
And the crowd spent the whole match going, not really giving a shit. And
yeah, nobody really cared. They tried to sell, oh, Brian Kendrick tricked him, and then he stole the victory, but like nobody cared.
Yeah, like I said, they're treating him like a side attraction, like a gimmick, like we mentioned last time, where they do the ropes, and they're not treated like the main roster. They're treated like an abomination or a gimmick, and it's like
they're treated like they're having a heat match in the middle of a pay-per-view.
Not really. He had some really good matches, but they're treated more like they're treated more like an. I know you call it what do you call it? Like in a fairground.
Yeah.
I know the word side. Go.
Sideshow.
Sideshow. Thank you. I should have just thought Bob. But yeah, they're treated like Bob. No, they're treated like a sideshow. They're treated like a sideshow attraction because it's not like, oh, look how amazing they are. It's like, oh, look at these small people fight. Isn't this a novelty? No, you've had better ones in your library. Hell, I can go on the network now and just look at WCW Cruiserweights and see how it was done right.
Yep. Hey, we can go back into your live. I'm assuming we can go back in your library and we can go find the matches from 15 years ago when you had midgets come out and fight, and that's probably more entertaining.
I'd say these have better matches.
Well, yeah, but people cared about the midgets.
Yeah, they did, but I already covered the WCW Cruiserweights.
Oh,
Vanilla midgets, boom.
ha!
And I'm joking because people take that term vanilla midget way out of context.
I've never heard that term before.
Kevin Nash used it to describe Eddie Guerrero and stuff in WCW,
Ah,
but people have been using that to say he was completely insulting him and blah 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 blah. However, Eddie's kind of gone on record as saying he was sort of right because they came from a different style of wrestling and didn't know how to do WCW style. So they had like nothing going for them. So they were completely vanilla.
mm-hmm. So that's why Goldberg wouldn't wrestle Jericho.
To be fair, Goldberg wasn't. To be fair, Jericho wasn't one of the radicals.
That's true.
And Jericho actually had stuff going from like his feud with Dean Malenko is fucking awesome. That's how you do a cruiserweight feud.
Nice.
Not this where it's like, oh, he won. I'm gonna look disappointed at myself, then angry at him, then disappointed at myself, and angry at him, like I'm looking at an Old Spice commercial.
Yeah, I don't get to the point. I mean, how much? I can only imagine, how much the ring crew has to do to change the fucking ropes in the middle of the show and then back again. That's got to be a pain in the ass. Why would you do that?
Yep, isn't it just tape?
Oh, is that what they're doing? They're putting tape on the ropes?
I think it's just purple tape that can easily come back off.
Oh.
But it's still an extra step. It's not needed.
It is not needed.
So after the cruiserweight match, tag.
Yep. Yes. Lowell New Day wins.
Yep, versus Sheamus and James Bond.
Yep. Who were getting along great, and then suddenly didn't get along anymore.
Yeah, the differences. They still got some animosity to work out. But yeah.
Yeah.
That happened. That tag match wasn't that good.
Yeah, that was a weird ending on the DQ while he was tapping. Like, how did you not see him tapping? That shouldn't have been possible.
Although I will say, props to Cesaro. That was a nice looking sharpshooter.
It was.
I say that just because I've mentioned on this podcast in the past when people do the sharpshooter wrong.
Mm-hmm. It's good to point out when people do it right too. Balance it out.
Yep. And as our the guy who has it in order, what's the next match? Is it the main event?
It is the main event.
I didn't like this match.
And it was okay.
But I'll talk about what I did like about this match first.
Okay.
Their entrances.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I liked. Their entrances. Like Charlotte came out being carried like she was a queen. And Sasha Banks got a cab. Because she's a boss. Okay, it wasn't a cab. It was like, I think she showed up in like a gangsterish car.
Makes sense.
But it worked. They were cool, almost WrestleMania, but not quite entrances.
Yeah. Like halfway there.
Yeah, then we have the brawl on the outside. Then they basically recreate the shittest spot ever in a Hell in a Cell. And that is Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose going through the table at the start of theirs last year and being carried off.
Oh, is that what that was?
Which that was actually recreating the Mick Foley thing to try and get the Mick Foley reaction of, look, they've been carried off. Well, no, we're going to come and fight. But here's the thing. The Mick Foley one was genuine. They genuinely didn't think he was going to continue. It felt real. It looked, whoa, what the fuck just happened? And therefore, you cared. This one, I was just like, oh, come on, get back fucking up already. You're milking this for all it's worth. And the winner, and the new WWE champion. And she runs in like, no, look how much she wants her title.
Yeah. Honestly, I wasn't sure if they were going to do that or if they were going to have something where, like, like Foley's going to come out and announce, okay, the title's voided, but there's still going to be a title match tonight. So Charlotte's going to fight for the vacant title against and bring out like The Rock's cousin or something.
Oh, I thought she was going to rip the side off the cage as the commentator screamed, "That's gotta be Nia! That's gotta be Nia!"
Yes.
However, I will say that powerbomb through the table was fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Charlotte did a good job. Her powerbomb looked smooth when she hit it.
Mm-hmm.
But to set it up as she goes to do it, Charlotte clearly goes, oh, not Charlotte, Sasha clearly goes and ducks and gets into position.
Yep.
Which just sets a trend for the night because a lot of the pacing was off in this match and it just felt like there was times where they just fucked up multiple stuff and you're like, oh, come on. It was kind of bad.
in that opening table powerbomb before the match started where Sasha's climbing down and Charlotte goes like this for like 8 seconds waiting for Sasha to get low enough that she can grab her for the powerbomb.
Yeah. I don't know, where you can see her lowering herself down to get into the position for the powerbomb.
Or later on when they were in the ring and Sasha was supposed to kick her off the turnbuckle through that table and she landed on the apron in what looked like a mistake and then she had to carry it and she just like, and the table didn't even fucking break.
Yep.
That looks sloppy as shit.
The finisher didn't seem like, whoa, that's worthy of ending that match.
Yeah, on a table that didn't break. Yeah, okay.
The worst part about this match, though, is if this had been an opening match, like the first Hell in a Cell, I probably wouldn't have complained as much, but it was the main event, and all night they hyped up the history and kept telling us how historic it is.
Yeah.
Which I feel is the problem. Like they said, like, oh god, it's gonna be a historic women's first Hell in a Cell, so they had to give us the Foley spot for women, and they had to do this, and instead of just making it a good match and letting it be history, and then mentioning the next night they made history by having the first women's Hell in a Cell.
Yep.
Watch on Raw. Mick Foley's gonna queue up. Mick Foley's gonna show up and talk about how brutal that was going through the table, and talk about that may have been worse than when I went through.
Yeah.
To which a little part of everyone watching should just die inside.
And it will.
Also, with this feud, I just want to point out Hell in a Cell didn't end Mick Foley's career.
No.
As he keeps making out it did. And it's like that Hell in a Cell with The Undertaker, and I'm like, no, you had multiple matches, you won your title after, you won your World Heavyweight title afterwards. You had a long run afterwards. Then you had another one with Triple H, which you could argue that ended your career because it was a retirement match, but you came back like a month later for WrestleMania. So no, and then you had like a match with Evolution where they just beat you and The Rock down.
Yep. And there was that time like 10 years ago when Edge speared her through a flaming table.
Yeah, exactly. It's like none of this ended your career, Mick. Whether or not it damaged him, I don't know. But really, did it damage him any more than any of the other shit he'd done in his career? Like ripping off his ear or jumping through tables and
get powerbombed up thumbtacks.
Yeah, and going onto concrete and stuff. To be fair, the thumbtacks was in the Hell in a Cell.
Oh, fair enough.
But at least one of them was. But yeah, back when thumbtacks meant something, like they did during the Orton match.
Yep.
Like Orton v Mick Foley was a great match, where you got to see how sadistic Orton was. He put him over great. But that's my point. It didn't end his career in Hell in a Cell, and that was a normal hardcore match. But it's important for the story they're telling, I suppose. But they faked Mick Foley's career history. Then they told us how historic this is and went out their way to try and make it as historic as possible. Like, oh, how can we make this memorable and historic? WrestleMania entrances. Mick Foley spot through a table. Let's do more table stuff like people did during the night, just going that way. It's like, it's all forced.
Yeah.
I felt like these two have had great matches and this just wasn't deserving of what they've had.
It didn't live up to what they've done before.
If they just put on a great Hell in a Cell with this, and if they wanted to make it historic, just let them go on the top of the cell. I'm not saying to throw them off, but like the figure 8 on top of the cell or something would be
that would have
great.
looked cool, yeah. Well, they did like the figure 8 where Sasha got out of it by smacking her in the abdomen with a chair. That was kind of clever.
Yep. And even some of the spots they did weren't that good during this. Like, oh, they folded up a chair and did something for it. We saw it during the night where they did it better with 2.
Yep.
And it looked smoother when which we didn't mention earlier, of thingy Kevin Owens power bombing Rollins through 2 chairs,
Yeah, that looked painful.
and they bent, and he just died, and it looked cool.
Yep. And then he ate a code breaker.
To be fair, that ended the match. Then he had a codebreaker. The codebreaker
and he was dead.
Yeah, the codebreaker wasn't relevant to the match. And to be fair, he did get up pretty soon after the codebreaker.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end, you saw him looking up pissed. So like, oh, is Jericho his feud now?
Yeah, that was weird.
Or is he going to complain that you put me in this matchup and Jericho interfered? I demand another match. Because
One more match.
you
One
know,
more match.
because a matchup with a structure around it designed to keep people out, let people in my match. Any other match type's perfect. Like, yeah, that's logical. The only way this would work is if you make a matchup where Jericho is banned from ringside, and
Yeah.
that's when Triple H will return.
Yeah.
But
Well, if he really wants to ensure it, he could do like I don't remember who did it too, but that time when somebody didn't wanted to win by forfeit, so they trapped somebody in their locker room with a forklift.
yep. And I will say, I do remember that. But yeah, I will say, yeah, this matchup, even the commentating was off in this match. It might just be me, but the others kept using the term historic as much as they can.
Mhm.
And Michael Cole, the guy who would be saying that and calling the spots, just sounded bored, like he was asleep during the match.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's Hell in a Cell.
It is. The only positive thing to say is that after Hell in a Cell, they debuted a new post-Raw show called Raw Talk to go along with the Talking Smack. So there you go.
Yep. Which that could be cool. And I will say, yeah, this pay-per-view, I will say, ironically, going into, I didn't think we'd have good Hell in a Cell matches if we had 3.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd say that, and I hate saying that, but the 2 male ones were good.
Yeah.
And they were like the only 2 matches on the card I would say were really good.
Yeah.
The rest of them were either horribly executed and just a clusterfuck like the female one, or people didn't care like the cruiserweights, or they were just boring like the tag matches.
Yep.
So overall, I'd rate this. I'd say this pay per view is a thumbs down for me. I tell people you don't. I'm not going to say avoid watch or anything like that. Just give it a thumbs down or a thumb up for pay per views due to or a middle-ish. I'm going to give it a thumbs down just because I'm not going to say avoid it because there are going to be people who watch it regardless. It's wrestling. That's what we do.
Yep.
And you do kind of need to know what happens before you watch Raw the next night and all that shit. So it gets all that stuff. And I feel like that giving it a free pass. So thumbs down.
Fair enough.
What was your rating?
If I had to numerically rate this, I think you're like a 75. Because I mean, there was a few good
Out of
matches on it.
5? That's pretty huge.
Yeah, very funny. No, I think it was 75 out of 100. It was a decent match. As you say, decent card rather. There was a couple of good Hell in a Cell matches. Some of them, they weren't bad matches. It's like you said, people just didn't care about some, like the cruiserweight match, like that Bailey and Dana Brooke match. Or some things just they weren't built up enough for people to care. And that kind of hurt the card. But
and what's funny about that is one matchup which I was like, I just want to see it just because it's a storyline. I kind of want to know where it's going. Raw Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn. I don't expect it to be good. It's going to be a complete shitty squash. But I was like, it had a storyline enough. I kind of want to see it. Wasn't on the card, and I'm like, what the?
no,
Why?
nowhere to be seen.
Why is it not on the card? It should have at least been pre-show, not what you said. What you described as what sounded like a forced thrown together tag, cruiserweight tag.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
They're saying with Braun Strowman, he wants better competition, so they're gonna have him compete as the ace in the hole for the Raw team at the Survivor Series.
yeah. I'm hoping he comes out and just chat. I'm hoping during the Brock Lesnar Goldberg match, I'm hoping he interferes and just destroys both. forming those two to making those two have to make an unlikely tag team.
That'd be interesting.
Because I think the young up and comers of Goldberg and Brock, if they put them together as strange bedfellows, could be great for the tag team division. But it's about time we got some new blood.
Okay then.
I'm kidding. I shouldn't shit all over that match. That's next month.
Yeah. Well, we'll wait for next month to shit all over that match.
Oh, surprisingly, it could be good.
It's only going to be good if Brock goes in there and just destroys him.
I mean, if Goldberg fights him off, because Goldberg had MMA style moves in his arsenal. Brock's evolved a lot more than what he was when he went against Goldberg. So to see him now, they're two different characters almost. You could get just a good brawling match. It won't be a technical clinic or anything like that, but it could be a good brawl match.
It could be.
So I should stop shitting all over them for being not young up and coming.
Yeah.
I prefer Goldberg from his NXT days. Back then he was known as Skip. But thank you. And yeah, join us next month. Peace.
Goodbye, folks.